Haakon V Magnusson ascended to the throne of Norway in the year 1299, inheriting a kingdom at a crossroads of medieval power dynamics. Born in 1270, he was the younger son of Magnus VI, known as Magnus the Lawmender, and his reign would build upon his father's legal foundations. His elder brother, Eirik II, had reigned before him, and Haakon served as Duke, governing Oslo, the uplands, the Faroe Islands, and Shetland. This period as Duke provided him with invaluable administrative experience, shaping his future policies as king. Upon Eirik's death without a male heir, Haakon's succession was undisputed, marking a smooth transition of power. One of Haakon V's most significant and lasting decisions was the establishment of Oslo as the permanent capital of Norway. Previously, the royal court had been itinerant, moving between major cities like Bergen and Trondheim. This move centralized the kingdom's administration in a strategic location he had come to know well as a duke. To solidify Oslo's new status, he initiated the construction of the formidable Akershus fortress. Akershus was not merely a defensive structure. It was a symbol of royal power and the heart of the new administration. The fortress was strategically placed to defend Oslo from both internal and external threats. Alongside Akershus, he also commissioned the construction of Bohus Fortress near the southern border. These fortresses represented a shift towards a more robust, state-funded national defense system. Haakon V was a king deeply concerned with the structure of power and the influence of the aristocracy. He embarked on a deliberate policy to curtail the power of the most influential noble families. In a radical move in 1308, he abolished the traditional noble title of Lendman, or Baron. This act effectively dismantled the old power structure that had existed for centuries. The Lendmen had held significant regional power and often challenged the authority of the crown. By removing their titles, Haakon aimed to create a more direct line of authority from the king to the people. In place of the old hereditary aristocracy, he cultivated a new elite loyal directly to him. This new class of officials was chosen for their skill and loyalty, not their lineage. He replaced the powerful royal council, once dominated by nobles and bishops, with his own civil servants. This created a professionalized bureaucracy that was an extension of the king's own will. The king's chancellery in Oslo became the nerve center of this new administrative system. This reform was crucial for the centralization of the Norwegian state. Haakon V also sought to limit the political influence of the church. While a pious man himself, he understood the need for a clear separation between secular and ecclesiastical power. He challenged the church's traditional rights in areas like legal jurisdiction and appointments. This led to conflicts with powerful figures like Archbishop Bjorn of Nidaros. The king insisted on royal authority over the realm's governance, a principle he would not compromise. His legal reforms were not just about power, but also about justice and order. He built upon the legal code established by his father, Magnus the Lawmender. Haakon issued a series of ordinances aimed at standardizing law and administration throughout the kingdom. One notable ordinance from 1313 provided detailed instructions for the sysselmen, or royal sheriffs. These instructions emphasized fair treatment for all the king's subjects, rich or poor. The king demanded that his officials act with integrity and not abuse their power. This focus on justice helped to strengthen the bond between the monarch and the common people. Haakon's foreign policy was complex, marked by shifting alliances and conflicts. He navigated difficult relationships with both Sweden and Denmark. His reign saw the end of the Norwegian-Scottish Wars, with the Treaty of Perth being fully recognized. He pursued a marriage alliance with Sweden, which had significant dynastic consequences. His daughter, Ingeborg, was a key figure in his dynastic and political strategies. Having no surviving sons, the succession became a matter of national importance. Haakon V took decisive legal action to secure the throne for his grandson, Magnus Eriksson Torg. This act ensured that the crown would pass through his daughter's line, uniting the kingdoms of Norway and Sweden. This personal union would reshape the political landscape of Scandinavia for decades to come. Haakon's reign was also a period of architectural and cultural development. The establishment of collegiate churches, like St. Mary's in Oslo, was part of his administrative reform. These institutions served as centers for education and the training of loyal civil servants. The king directly appointed the clergy for these churches, further cementing his control. This provided the crown with a steady supply of educated and reliable men for the chancellery. His economic policies aimed to strengthen the kingdom's finances. He sought to control trade more effectively, particularly the lucrative trade in the north. The king's relationship with the Hanseatic League, the dominant trading power, was often strained. Haakon attempted to promote domestic merchants and break the Hanseatic monopoly. These efforts had limited success but laid the groundwork for future economic policy. Haakon V died in 1319, leaving behind a transformed kingdom. His reign marked the high point of Norwegian royal power in the Middle Ages. He had successfully centralized the state, professionalized its administration, and secured his dynasty's future. The abolition of the Lendman class was a bold stroke against the old feudal order. His fortress-building program provided a lasting legacy of national defense. The choice of Oslo as the capital had irreversible consequences for the nation's development. His legal framework sought to create a more just and orderly society under the king's peace. The king's personal piety was well known, and he supported the church on his own terms. He even ordered the construction of hostels for pilgrims traveling to Nidaros Cathedral. This act of charity also served as a public work, improving infrastructure. The succession of his 3-year-old grandson, Magnus VII, was his final political victory. However, this also led to a period of regency and renewed aristocratic influence. The centralized system Haakon built was tested in the decades following his death. Despite these challenges, his reforms fundamentally altered the Norwegian state. He is remembered as Norway's great legal king, a true successor to his father, the lawmender. His focus on a loyal bureaucracy over hereditary nobility was revolutionary for its time. The chancellery at Akershus became a model for governmental administration. Documents and decrees flowing from this center unified the kingdom under a single will. The king's direct intervention in legal matters ensured his authority was felt at all levels. His reign saw a decline in the political power of the western port city of Bergen. The eastward shift of the political center of gravity was a defining feature of his rule. This reorientation would have long-term implications for Norway's relationship with its neighbors. The construction of permanent royal residences was a break from the past. It signaled that the monarchy was no longer a wandering institution, but a fixed and stable one. Haakon's reforms were not always popular with the established powers. There were several clashes and moments of high tension with the old aristocracy. Ultimately, the king's strategic use of law and military power prevailed. His legacy is that of a state builder, a modernizer in a medieval context. He laid the institutional foundations for the future Norwegian kingdom. The king's seal became a powerful symbol of undisputed authority across the land. His meticulous attention to administrative detail was legendary. This hands-on approach ensured his reforms were implemented effectively. The political union with Sweden, born from his succession plan, was his final grand maneuver. It set the stage for the Kalmar Union a century later, a testament to his foresight King Haakon V's reign was a critical turning point in Norwegian history. Consolidated power in a way none of his predecessors had managed. The system of a loyal, skilled bureaucracy would be a lasting inheritance. His fortresses, especially Akershus, would stand for centuries as guardians of the capital. The legal principle of the king, as the ultimate source of justice, was firmly established. His actions created a more unified and governable Norwegian realm. The king's court in Oslo became a center of culture and learning. He promoted the use of Old Norse as a written language of administration. This helped to foster a stronger sense of national identity. The king's reforms were a direct response to the challenges of his time. He saw the danger of a fragmented kingdom dominated by powerful, self-interested lords. His solution was to build a state apparatus loyal only to the crown. This required a careful and sometimes ruthless political strategy. The financial cost of his fortress building program was immense. This necessitated efficient taxation and financial management. The king's success demonstrated the power of centralized planning. His influence extended to the smallest details of governance. The Ordinance of 1313 is a testament to his desire for a well-ordered kingdom. He sought to protect the common people from the rapacity of powerful magnates. This populist element of his rule was a key source of his strength. His foreign policy was pragmatic, aimed at securing Norway's borders and trade. Marriage of his daughter was a masterstroke of dynastic politics. It ensured his bloodline would continue to rule, even without a direct male heir. The establishment of a fixed capital was a move of profound psychological importance. It declared that the Norwegian monarchy was here to stay, rooted and powerful. The king's personal involvement in the design of Akershus is well documented. He was not just a ruler but an architect of his kingdom's future. His conflict with the church was a struggle for ultimate sovereignty within the realm. By controlling key appointments, he ensured the church served national interests. The legacy of Haakon V is complex, a mixture of autocracy and justice. He was an absolute monarch who believed in the rule of law. His reign was the culmination of a century of state-building efforts. The Norway he left behind was stronger, more unified, and more centralized than ever before. The king's new aristocracy of service was a meritocratic ideal in a feudal age. This challenged the very foundation of hereditary privilege. His legal reforms aimed to create a predictable and stable environment for all. The king's peace was to extend to every corner of his realm. The financial reorganization of the kingdom was essential to his success. He understood that military and political power rested on a solid economic foundation. His efforts to control Hanseatic influence were a fight for economic sovereignty. The king's death in 1319 marked the end of an era of powerful, native-born Norwegian kings. The subsequent union with Sweden would pull Norway into a wider Scandinavian orbit. Yet, the institutions Haakon V built would endure for centuries. His reign is a powerful case study in medieval state formation. He successfully balanced the need for power with the demand for justice. The memory of the lawmender's son would inspire future generations of Norwegians. His name became synonymous with a strong, independent Norwegian monarchy. The centralization of power in Oslo was his most visible and enduring legacy. His legal and administrative reforms were the true bedrock of his reign. The King's Council of Loyal Civil Servants was his sharpest tool of governance. He transformed the role of the monarch from a feudal overlord to a national sovereign. The impact of his reign was felt in every aspect of Norwegian life, from defense to justice. King Haakon V was, in essence, the architect of the medieval Norwegian state.